In today's video, I am going to be talking to you about if you can actually lift weights and still shoot the basketball at a high percentage. Will it help or hinder your shot? Well, that's what we're really going to break down today. Behind me right now is Michael Jordan. He was notorious for having a really good shot. He shot over the minimum 32.5% from three, and he was an absolute killer. Also, Kobe Bryant was the same way. Well, why is that? Well, let's get down to it. For example, when we look at Michael Jordan, what are some of the muscles that he's currently using to shoot this ball? Well, first off, when he kicks that foot down, he's really working the muscles, obviously, in his lower leg. He's not, at this point, really using a ton of his Achilles. His Achilles is to actually get him up into the air. And what weights do is they don't necessarily, they do, but they don't put a lot of emphasis really on the ligaments. What they're working on, the iron, is the muscle. You can do plyometrics. That will really focus on things like your Achilles. That will give you explosiveness, but what lifting steel does for you is it builds the muscle, and what that will do for you is it gives you the strength to be able to handle the pressures of stopping and transitioning up into your shot. They will also help if a player, let's say a defender, hits you while you're in the air. It will give you the strength of being able to finish. However, let's really look at the muscle groups that we look at when shooting a basketball. So of course, you're working on the muscle right there to stop. The stopping motion is extremely important. You want to be able to stop as quickly as possible in the shortest amount of distance, and that's what your muscles do. From there, when you're going up into your shot, you're using a lot of your lower back extensions. You're using a lot of your hips. A lot of those resistant band exercises will really help your hips. But what about the upper body? You're probably wondering, well, if I do bench press, will it mess up my shot? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not. It could if you're looking to get one of those big bodybuilder chests. Yeah, that's going to mess up your shot because you're not going to be able to tuck your elbow in as easily, because if you're going on bench pressing 350 pounds, that's going to really build your chest. But you're not looking to do that. We can see right here with Michael Jordan, these plates right there are either going to be 55 or 45 pounds. Depending on what they were, there's not really any markings that are on there that we can see. This is video footage from the 90s or even the 80s. So really, we don't know what those are, but due to the size, it's either going to be 45 or 55. And this is an elite athlete, which means that if, let's say they're 55 pounds, just as an example, and the bar itself is 45, usually 43, 45. I usually just round off to 45. Well, if you've got 45, 55, and 55, well, guess what? That's 110. That then brings over to 155 right there. He's only doing a 155-pound bench press. This is really not that much. And there's different ways of working out as well, and this will really help you when it comes to potential injuries or soft spots when it comes to maybe extending your elbow. As an example, when we're looking at a 155-pound bench press, you're probably looking at only doing that between 8 to 15 times if you're an elite athlete like Michael Jordan. He's not going to be trying to lift that 300-pound weight because that would hinder his ability. However, with lower weight, you're able to still build the tone as well as the injury resistance of the chest. And then if you start going into something like this, when we're looking at dumbbell press, for example, a dumbbell chest press, I could technically take a guess that those are probably somewhere in the 35 to 45 pound range. He's not looking at his age to really dumbbell press a ton. And what this type of weightlifting does is it really builds a lot of the muscle around your shoulders and your tricep, which will again help a ton when it comes to injury resistance. And when we're looking at a player like Michael Jordan who's slashing and getting to the rim and getting hit by bigger defenders, he really wants to protect himself. Let's also not forget that the bench press as well as dumbbell presses really do work your tricep muscle. That's the muscle on the back of your arm, which is actually, especially if you are a two-motion shooter like MJ was, that is exactly a massive muscle that's going to be giving you at least a good amount of power into your shot. So that strength right there is going to help you shoot at farther distances. Also, when you start doing these types of workouts, it is working your shoulders so that you can take those hits and you will be able to essentially withstand a lot of the rigors of a full basketball, or in this case, NBA season. Now, if you find that you have a lot of shoulder injuries when it comes to potentially in basketball getting hit and things like that, you can try to lengthen your muscles, which is one way. Now, one way that you can actually lengthen your muscles is instead of pushing the weight, you are basically letting it fall back to your body. For example, let's say we're doing a chest press, but one where we're sitting up, essentially. I don't want to give you any terms that may confuse you, but basically you want to go at 90 degrees at your shoulder, but normally you would want to go all the way up and then all the way back down to 90 and back up. However, if you're finding that you're getting maybe a lot of injuries when you fall, for example, and you're trying to hold yourself from falling, well, pushing up is not going to help you any with that resistance of trying to hold yourself. You're not trying to push yourself off the floor at that point. You're trying to hold yourself, or at least allow yourself to fall slower. Well, what you can do if you have a partner is to allow your partner, you start with your arm slightly bent, but all the way up. Your partner will put the weight into your hand. Obviously, you do not want to be having your arm way off balance. You want to do this with an actual personal trainer, and then let the weight fall. Your partner would then take it. You'll go back up, and then same thing. He'll put the weight back in your arm or your hand, back down. And just like that. And that can actually really lengthen the muscle and really stop an injury from happening in the future. And a workout like that can actually really drastically improve your shot as well. We can actually see this in this clip right here. If we rewind just a bit and we look at this clip, we can actually see that MJ's trainer is actually helping lift the weight up for him and then basically letting him pull it back down. He's trying to basically hold it at the max and then really working on that deceleration. This is going to again help Michael Jordan withstand injuries. Now, what about bicep curls? Will that again impact your shooting form? Well, no, not really. And of course, if you're getting your back into it like MJ is here, which generally speaking, you want to limit how much your lower back goes into bicep curls, you can still, of course, he's maybe working his lower back. Maybe that's what his trainer wanted him to do here. But personally, I would not be having my player using his lower back like that to lift. But from here, your bicep is still a part of your arm and a part of your shot. You need to lift that ball up into your set point. And when you lift that ball up, you're not necessarily using your bicep a ton, but if somebody's hacking down on your arm, that can still give you the strength to get that ball up into your shot and get that and one. Now, does weightlifting affect your shot? It can. However, in generalities, it won't, and it will probably actually make your shot better. You'll be able to shoot from farther away in most cases. However, if you're looking to do 2 or 3 reps of 400-pound weights, that's going to affect your shot. That's going to make you bulkier, and you do not want to be bulky as a basketball player. That's how I personally like to be myself, is a bit bulkier, because I like to just smash players when I'm trying to get to the rim. But that doesn't affect my shot, or at least it hasn't as of yet. So personally, if I was training a player who was wanting to lift weights for their upper body strength, I would be going a lot of reps at 3 to 4 sets, and a lot of reps being 10 to 20 reps per set at lower weight. That way that we're not getting bulkier, we're getting stronger. Anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.